You're welcome to Basic Science and Technology for Junior Secondary Class 3. In today's topic, we shall be looking at family traits. Let us look at the objectives. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to 1. Define genetics, heredity, and family traits. 2. Explain the meaning of dominant and recessive gene. 3. Discuss the importance of family traits under the following: A. Intelligence, B. Disease, C. Resemblance, and D. Family genealogy. Let's look at the definition of genetics. Genetics is the scientific study of heredity and variation in living things. The transfer of materials which lead to heredity and variation occurs during reproduction in living things. Heredity is a branch of genetics which studies how children or offspring take after their parents. Let us look at family traits. Family traits can be defined as transmittable characters or characteristics which are passed from parents to offspring or children or progeny from one generation to another through reproduction. You may have your hair color as your mother or your eye color as your father. Now let us look at this image. It's an example of a fused ear lobe, and the other image is an example of a free earlobe. And these are characters that can be transmitted from parents to their offspring. Let us look at examples of family traits. Number 1, we have the color of skin, that is the complexion of the skin. We can see that this is being displayed. This is a characteristic or a trait that can be transmitted from parents to their offspring. Another is height, that is either tallness or shortness. This will be dealt with later on when we are doing a crossing. Then another is the color of the eyes. You see that display on your screen. Another is the color of the hair. Images displayed on your screen is showing that. Then intelligence, then shape of the nose, blood group, and albinism. Albinism is a condition where they lack the skin pigment called melanin, and it can be transferred from parents to their offspring. Let us look at DNA strands. The DNA is a long linear polymer found in the nucleus of a cell and formed from the nucleotides and shaped like a double helix associated with the transmission of genetic information. The DNA contains chromosome. A chromosome is a thread-like strand of DNA in the cell nucleus that carries the gene in a linear order. There are 23 pairs of chromosomes in human. Of these, 22 pairs are autosome, that is not sex chromosome, while the last pair is a sex chromosome. In female, the sex chromosome is XX, but for male, it is X and Y chromosomes. Hence, the male chromosome determines the sex of the child. Displayed is the image of the DNA. You can see that there are 23 pairs. In this image, 22 of them are autosome. The last pair is what you can see towards your right. It contains 2 chromosomes. Like we see in this case, we are seeing the X and Y, which means that this is for the male. Meaning of dominant and recessive traits. A dominant trait can be defined as a trait that is expressed in an offspring when two individuals with contrasting traits or characteristics are crossed. Dominant traits are controlled by dominant gene. For instance, capital RR and a capital letter TT, where TT is for tallness. Now, a recessive trait can be defined as the traits from parents which do not produce any effects in the presence of dominant traits. Recessive traits are controlled by recessive gene. For instance, small letter RR and small letter TT. Now, both parents have to be carriers of a recessive trait in order for a child to express that trait. If both parents are carriers, there is 25% chance which each child can show the recessive trait. For instance, is the diagram, the image you are seeing. Now, the genes are the basic unit of heredity. They determine the nature of inherited characteristics of traits. If you look at the diagram we are seeing there, where the father and the mother were carriers for let's say the B is for, the capital B is for black and the small b is for brown. They were carriers for brown color. When they crossbreeded, they produced a child that had brown, that is small bb, as you are seeing there. In the other case, the father and the mother were carriers for tallness, capital T and small t. And when they crossbreed, they had a child that was short, that is small tt. And the last case is the case of blood group, where the father was carrier of the sickle cell. They are AS and the mother was AS. And when they crossbreed, the child was SS. Importance of family traits. 1. Determines the intelligence of individuals. 2. Determines or detects certain diseases that run in family, e.g. sickle cell anemia. 3. Determine in particular who does a child resemble in the family. 4. Determine the blood group of an individual, either A, B, AB, or O. 5. Trace the family genealogy. The family genealogy or family tree or pedigrees are lines of generations of parents and offspring which trace the descendants of a man and his wife. A man with more than one wife will have one family tree for each of his wife. Displayed on your screen is an example of family genealogy, or you can say family tree. For instance, from the child downwards, you can see the connection to either the mother or the father. The father side, for easy recognition, we use the color blue, and that of the mother side, we use the color red. And so from the mother, we have two people connecting to the mother, that is the maternal grandmother of the child and the maternal grandfather of the child. And again, connecting to the maternal grandmother, we have two persons, the great grandfather and the great grandmother. The same goes to the maternal grandfather. And in the case of the child being connected to the father's side, the same process goes on and on. This is an example of a family tree. Let's try some classwork. Attempt the following questions. Choose the correct options only. Number 1. The study of heredity and variation is called what? A. Evolution. B. Embryology. C. Anatomy. D. Genetics. Number 2. Transmittable characters passed from parents to offspring are family what? A. Spring. B. Behavior. C. Traits. D. Inheritance. Number 3. Which of these is not a family trait? A. Albinism. B. Malaria. C. Blood group. D. Shape of the nose. Number 4. How many pair of chromosomes does human have? A. 23. B. 22. C. 21. D. 20. And number 5. SS blood genotype stands for A. Small sickness. B. Sickness state. C. Sector sickness. And D. Sickle cell. Alright, let's check the answers to the class work. If you've not done it, you can pause the video and try to finish up, then you assess yourself. Now, number 1, the answer is D. Number 2, the answer is C. Number 3, the answer is B. Number 4, the answer is A, and number 5, the answer is D. As an assessment, let us do the following. Number 1, state 5 importance of family traits. Number 2, explain family genealogy. Number 3, define the word family traits. Number 4, list 5 family traits. Number 5, the scientific study of heredity and variation is called what? Number 6, traits are also called. Number 7, dash is also referred to as progeny. And number 8, who is the father of genetics? Now you can take the whole time to go over the video again, and you will be able to see the answers to these questions. We have come to the end of the lesson. Very big thank you for listening, watching. I hope to see you in the next class.